The NASCAR Winston Cup Series is back with more action here in the 2003 season as we stay out in California at the California Speedway for the running of the Auto Club 500, the third race of the season. And if it's anything like the first two we're in for one show here today at the California Speedway in Fontana, California. I'm Joe Rakowski, alongside me in the booth. It is Trey Bardo, and Trey, it's great to stay out here in California. So nice weather here, especially as we're still in the winter months, February, March. It's a little bit cooler out on the East Coast. We're here on the West Coast. It's in the 70s, 77 right now. Very slight wind. There's some clouds in the sky, but it's still pretty sunny over the racetrack, Trey. It's a great day for racing here in California.
It just feels nice out here. I don't gotta wear a coat. That's what I like. And for once, I'm not sweating in this suit, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it's a very comfortable day, and I'm sure those drivers appreciate how it feels right now, too. It's near perfect conditions for everyone here at the racetrack, and it was perfect conditions yesterday in qualifying for Tim Gary. Trey, MB2 continues their reign of dominance. Think about Evan Hunter won basically everything at Daytona, then went to Riverside and backed it up with the top 5 finish. He's the only driver this season to get a top 5 in both races to start the season. And now his teammate Tim Gary, he makes his own splash by getting pole here today in Fontana, California. So MB2 really starting off the season as championship favorites, you'd have to think.
I don't know how you argue against that, right? I mean, I don't know what these guys did in the off season, but it's working out to the best that it can. So I'm excited to see how long this can last and if they can get another win to them.
And another team that really made gains during the offseason is Hendrick Motorsports. That's interesting to say, Hendrick had to make gains in the offseason, but 2002 was so disappointing and mediocre for that team. Only one driver won a race that season. It was Jay Reno, who won 2 races last season in the 48. Their other 3 drivers that were full-time drivers that were meant to drive for the team went winless. Keegan Thompson, Brett Sierra, and then Justin Zeidel in the 24. No driver in that stable finished inside the top 10 in points. But now here we are at the start of the season. Brett Sierra broke his very long winless drought last race at Riverside, and all 4 team cars here in Fontana, California are starting inside the top 10. Thompson starting 2nd, Sierra starting 3rd, Zeidel right by them in 5th, and Lathan Strickland in 8th. So Hendrick Motorsports, Trey, they could be a team to watch, especially at these downforce racetracks where you have fast speeds, some fast corner speeds as well. Tracks like a 1.5 mile or 2 mile like here at California. Maybe watch Hendrick Motorsports. They look to be pretty strong in qualifying and in practice.
Is it too early to say that Hendrick's back? You think it's too early to say?
I don't know. I mean, with how they've performed at Riverside, how they're performing here so far, I think that they definitely have the speed that's back. Let's see if the luck is back on their side, though.
Yeah, that is that you might want some more luck than you do, skill or speed or anything, just because you could always be good, but if you don't have that luck, your day can go away very quickly.
And you know what else can also ruin your day? If you don't have any allies on the racetrack. And Trey, after Riverside, I think the whole garage is mad at someone because we had incident after incident after incident. They didn't bring out caution flags. We didn't catch them live on the broadcast because there was so much going on up at the front for the lead. We couldn't cut away from it, but we did luckily get, the replay booth. They got a side-by-side up. We got to see all the action that occurred during the race. And it all started coming off pit road, catching up to the pace car where we saw Evans get dumped by Jay Rano in the 97. He went up and showed us displeasure, coming back to take the green flag, kind of got up alongside him, rode with him and said, "What the heck, dude, that wasn't cool." Then later in the race, right after the restart occurred, we saw Zeidel and Justin Atkins make contact where it looked like Atkins was not happy with Zeidel. Either they made contact at some corner of the racetrack, but it looks like Atkins drove Zeidel basically down to the dirt, and Zeidel, instead of lifting, said, "All right, you're coming with me," and jumped over the curb and took Atkins out. So Trey, that's only one of the incidents we had last race, and then on top of that, we had Evans get back at Jay Rando in the 97, where he took him out, it looked like on purpose, for what happened under the caution flag. We had Evans get run into by Max Davis. Now, Davis said Evans ran into me. It looked like to me Max Davis kind of just turned his car into Evans. I don't know if he got loose or if he was just mad Evans was there, or if something else happened during the race. But Evans involved in something else there with Max Davis. Keyshawn Richardson ran over Lathan Strickland and turned him head onto a concrete wall. And then that same corner lane in the race, Mitchell Collins got into Tyler Belladonna in the 77 and took him out as well. So Trey, if you're keeping count, that's like 5 accidents that occurred right there with drivers probably angry with each other after that one. I don't think Fontana, California, this 2-mile high-speed racetrack, is the place to get payback, but I'm sure those drivers are not going to give each other much room here today or for the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is the nicest of places to wreck, but I mean, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see if anything happens. But yeah, you going through that incident list, it's not the best, is it? I mean, majority of them look like they involve RCR drivers, and one of the RCR drivers is, well, how do I say this? Well known,
Yeah.
for stuff like this. So we're only technically 2 races done in the season, and we're just about to start the third. That's a little early for that stuff.
That's quite an extensive list for just 2 races into the season, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, it could provide some fuel on the racetrack for future incidents. We'll have to see. I mean, Zidell and Atkins, they're not really near each other at the start, but if they ever find each other, I'd watch for Strickland and Richardson, though. They're starting nose to tail, 8th and 10th, and Strickland was not too happy with Richardson running him over and basically turning him. He was like, that's a concrete wall that you just turned me into head on. So we'll have to see if that feud spills over into other races. But we'll have to see how this race goes as well. We'll take a look at some of the facts here for the California Speedway in Fontana, California. As mentioned, beautiful day for racing here today. This track is 2 miles in length. It's a 50-lap race that equals out to 100 miles here today at the California Speedway. Watch for the fuel window. It's 29 to 32 laps. They can make it past the midway point. However, green flag pit stops are a rarity here at California with all the cautions we've had in the past. Very low banked racetrack, only 14 degrees of banking in the corners, and you run off into them at about 200 miles per hour. You have 11 degrees on the front stretch, but only 3 degrees on the back straightaway. And watch out for the first 5 laps here, Trey. In the first 6 California races, there's only ever been 6 California races in the Winston Cup Series. All 6 of them have had a caution in the first 5 laps. Is that going to continue here today?
Yeah. How do our trends normally continue? I want to say they normally hit, don't they?
They normally do.
Yeah, so that's not a good sign then.
Yeah, watch the field in the first 5 laps because it's always happened here. There's a 100% chance so far that we're going to have a caution in the first 5 laps, and then they'll produce some interesting pit strategy. Do you pit? Do you stay out? If you pit, do you take fuel only, 2 tires, 4 tires? It could mix up the running order if an early caution flag does come here at the California Speedway. But it's time to go down trackside, get the command to fire the engines up for the 3rd race of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series season.
Drivers, start your engines!
The engines have fired and we're rolling here at the California Speedway to do battle in the Auto Club 500 for the 3rd race of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. Starting in 4th place, the runner-up of the last race at Riverside, Chris Jericho in the 18. He performed very well here last season, leading the most laps. However, he got shuffled late, pushed out of the pack, pushed out of the groove, and never could recover to get back to the race lead. Can Jericho, Trey, starting in 4th place today, find Fontana victory lane for the first time in his career?
You definitely know that's definitely one thing on his mind, especially like you said, from the way he's been so far, and he's starting next to the guy that he probably had one of the most heated battles in his career with. So we'll have to see if there's any love lost there, or if they can trust each other a little bit more after experiencing that.
And then starting just outside of the top 10, watch for Robert Yates Racing, especially this man, Luke Rainey in the 88. He starts 11th here today. However, he was fastest in practice. You know that car is a very good race setup. His teammate Riley Spurgeon was set to start in 2nd the field inspection. So Trey, Robert Yates Racing, especially Luke Rainey, they could be the ones to bet on here today in California.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't matter what track we're at or what race we're in. It seems like this guy could always find his way inside the top 10 at least one point in the race, and we always mention him. So we're going to have to see if he can work his way up and stay up there, or if things might not go his way.
It must run in the family. The Rainey family very accomplished in the Winston Cup Series. Trey Rainey, a past champion. Luke Rainey trying to join him here this season. Back to the fronts, Tim Gary and Keegan Thompson in the front row for 50 laps in California. The Auto Club 500 is underway for race number 3. The inside lane with quite the jump. Gary and Sierra got away first and second. Zidell top to bottom. looking 3 wide into turns 3 and 4. This is where the accidents would happen in the past. Sierra gets clear in the middle. Zidell trying to get through on the bottom. His teammate Thompson comes with them. It's a Hendrick 1, 2, 3 off turn 4 on lap 1, with Sierra picking up where he left off at Riverside, leading the first lap here in California.
Well, I mean, you can still see that Gary and Sierra are friends, since they I don't know if you can consider it swapped rides, however you want to go about that. So a little help there. But now we're going back to Keegan Thompson, a guy that I don't think we really. How often did we talk about him last season, Joe? He had a really bad season to him.
Yeah, not very often. That's not what was expected of. His 2000 and 2001 seasons were championship caliber seasons, but last season was anything but. And now here he's trying to get back to the top. He hasn't won since that 2001 season. But to the inside, Jordan Stout, he maybe could have won the championship last season if not for that post-race inspection failure at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in the World 600. Stout now to the lead on lap number 3, and these Roush cars, they've been pretty good here at California in the past. And here comes another one, Zachary DeLello to the inside of the 16. He's done a good job making these races so far this season because he's not locked into them, but that 16 shown some speed early on. But Stout really shown the speed, pulled away from the 3-wide battle for second place.
This is I'm not
Caution.
used to seeing the league. Oh.
It's Chris Jericho.
Oh no.
Oh man.
This man cannot catch a break, can he?
And it looks like it was only a single car incident as well. I don't see anyone else involved as Stout leads us back around. Wells in second, and Trey 7 for 7 in cautions in the first 5 laps here in the California Speedway.
I took you to take it. Things tend to roll that way, but yeah, that's very strange. It seemed to be only a single car accident. Normally it's at least, I'd probably say it averages 3 cars or so?
Yeah, 2 or 3 cars normally we see in accidents here at the California Speedway, but Jericho, it looks like was all by himself in the 18. It looks like he has rear end damage, and it looks like maybe some right front as well, so I don't know how he got involved in whatever it was. I don't know if he got spun off a corner and maybe he got spun into the inside wall. It's hard to tell, but definitely the rear end is shortened up, so probably some right side damage as well. But we'll have to see what the leaders do here for pit road, Trey. We've completed 3 laps of 50. Obviously, if they pit now, they can't really do anything much, and it looks like, for the most part, we're staying out on the racetrack.
I don't think I see anyone coming in.
Yeah, it would be a lonely pit road. You might only see Jericho come in.
That would be to fix the damage. Actually, we have. So I wonder
if it's
a strategy call, yeah, or being involved. So it's he's a very, very lonely guy right now.
Yes, he is, and I see everyone else getting caught up, and obviously Jericho coming in. They'll look at the damage to replace the tires because he was obviously involved in some sort of spin or accident. So it's he and Colin Lewis. Looks like came down for a splash and go, so some more fuel. So if it stays under the green flag, maybe they go a little bit farther, try and catch some people a lap down if a caution comes out during pit cycles. But caution 1 is out here in California. It comes in within the first 5 laps. Once again, we'll go check what happened to Chris Jericho in the 18 early on. Well, the bad luck for Chris Jericho right here, involved in something that was none of his doing. Lathan Strickland, his old ride to his outside, trying to pass him. He makes it 4 wide. And it looks like Richardson came down a little bit. Wilson came up. They made contact. And Chris Jericho, not involved in anything, but gets involved in the crash and, instead of anyone else.
Yeah, he did a nice job, though, holding the brakes, keeping the car up there, making sure it doesn't slide down to anyone else. Yep. Pretty much, make sure no one of an innocent victim gets involved here and lessening the damage on his car, though.
Yeah, he wanted to be the only innocent victim involved in this crash. And, yeah, it was just kind of everyone else made some weird moves. Jericho's on the outside, and he got involved in it. We'll go take a look at this wreck from one more angle at full speed. And here's one more view of the accident at full speed. And Trey brought up that there was a weird reunion going on with that 4 wide where the 97 was trying to pass the 48. That's his old ride. The 48 trying to pass the 15. That's his old ride. And they all kind of met together, and unfortunately Chris Jericho was the innocent bystander.
I'm just kind of go with, they were trying to one-up each other there, and then, it just ends up being that 4 wide isn't the move, and, the 15 had nowhere to go. As you can see, they were trying to tell each other that, like, hey, look, we're next to each other, I think. We're going to go with that, at least.
I don't know if that was friendly or angry. I don't know. But, Strickland with Roush might be a bad combo this season. But it's a Roush car with a good combination at the front. Jordan Stout got out front, blasted away, and leads under the first caution here in the Auto Club 500 at the California Speedway. back here on JRTV. The lights are out atop the Pontiac pace car. We're going green this time by with Jordan Stout in the lead and all 42 cars still running. We'll have to check out if Chris Jericho can try and stay with the main pack, stay with these drivers, and try and just latch onto whatever positions he can get, and how the strategy works out for Colin Lewis to splash and go on pit road. He has just a little bit more fuel than all these guys around him. We'll have to see if that pays off at any point during the rest of this race. So it's Jordan Stout in the 6th with the race lead. In 2nd place, we have last season's champion Mathis Wells. Stout's teammate DeLello is up to 3rd. Tim Gary from pole still in 4th. And Justin Zadell trying to break a very long winless drought inside the top 5. They have Thompson, another winless drought right there in 6th place. Eli Bright, really the first time we talked about that, number 8 this season. He's up in 7th place. How about Roberto Crown Jr. up in 8th? Only one of 2 drivers to finish inside the top 10 in both the races so far this season. That's him and Evan Hunter. Then Laura Chung up from mid-pack to 9th, and Luke Rennie inside the top 10 in the 88. The pace car is in. We're going back around. Jordan Stout in the 6th with the lead. There they go, and the pack spreading out as they come to the restart. Gary down to the bottom for 3rd place right there in the number 10, trying to grab it from Zach DeLello as they work their way off turn number 2. You can see in the back, it looks like Chris Jericho already kind of struggling. That number 18 obviously hit the wall pretty hard, and you'd have to think that there's some, not massive damage, but definitely major enough to really slow that car down.
Yeah, it'll be, we'll have to see how big of a hurt it actually is here, but I'm curious to see if these guys are going to settle it down like you mentioned they normally do, or if it's only going to go worse.
Well, Mathis Wells took the lead from Jordan Stout, 5 points right there for last season's champion. Ooh, Thompson and DeLello got close into one. DeLello lifted to give Thompson the room, and thankfully he did, because that could have been a crash if he stayed in the gas. Here comes Luke Rennie, the 88, 3 wide to the bottom. We mentioned, watch those Robert Yates racing cars. They looked fast in both sessions yesterday, both practice and qualifying. Well, Luke Rennie showing it in the race right now, driving to 3rd place by the 200 cars.
It's the 88 and the 8 working together.
How about that? Triple 8, DeLello and Gary getting close. Fitzwater trying to force the issue to the bottom. The Dodgers haven't looked really fast so far this weekend in both practice and qualifying. But here comes Fitzwater showing that Dodge towards the front of the field to the top 10 and going for more into turn number 1.
Oh, hold on. Contact. These guys are getting too close. I don't know how they're keeping it off each other. Almost Hendrick contact.
Whoa!
Are we good?
Thompson getting loose.
You know, maybe these guys should have pit. Their cars do not look the happiest right now.
Well, here comes Jordan Stout back on Mathis Wells. It brings Luke Rennie, Eli Bright, and Conrad Evans right into the battle to make it 5 cars. Fitzwater aggressive with Seidel, shoves him up out of the groove.
What's going on with these guys, man?
What's going on with Fitzwater? He's taking no prisoners here today.
Not happy? I don't. What made him mad? What made him mad this time?
I don't know, but we're looking almost 4 wide again off into turn 1.
Oh my goodness!
And now they're going to be 4 wide as they come off turn number 2. It's last season's winner of this race, Kukulon up top. Lathan Strickland backed out in a big way, backs up to DeLello, but keeps from crashing all those race cars. At the front, Luke Rennie to the lead, but Mathis Wells wants it back, and here comes Conrad Evans in the 31.
Is this the guy that was talked about most during the week here, and not in the best of lights?
Yeah, unfortunately, but now he's up inside the top 5 trying to get away from all the enemies that could be behind him. Luke Rennie leads lap for 5 bonus points. Fitzwater trying to join the fun. How about Baby Ruiz for Ultra Melling Racing or Melling Ultra Motorsports? Here they are up inside the top 10, just outside the top 5, and racing with all these big name teams, and same with Roberto Crown Jr. And how about Colin Teague? BAM Racing has not had a great season. Teague, this is his first race. He missed both Daytona and Riverside. But here is Teague performing well in that 49 and moving inside the top 10.
He's absolutely cruising right now. He might have that if this thing goes green for a while here near the end of this race, he might be one to watch.
He could be, as here's Eli Bright looking for 3rd place as Wells gets back by Luke Rennie, the 88. We have 7 cars up here. Here comes Baby Ruiz. As mentioned, one of those smaller teams, but making the most of it. That number 7 cruising to the front of the field, just like we saw with Colin Teague in the 49. These smaller teams really showing up. And how about some of these drivers that had to start at the back of the field? Riley Spurley-Tube and Justin Atkins both failed inspection after qualifying, but here they are, Trey, up inside the top 15, top 20, moving through the field.
They're definitely making their presence known. As you can see, the 28 washing up a little bit here, but he's going to find his place in line in that 30, sticking to the bottom. So, this is the part where we start to see who has those good cars on the wrong run and who doesn't, as we're possibly looking for. I couldn't tell there.
It's getting very close to all these drivers, but the pack is definitely thinning out. Where in the past here at California, we've seen the cars really stay together and stay on top of each other, and you can't really get away from one another. But I think the track is definitely starting to wear out and age. It's handling is becoming more of a factor, and I think that's why the pack is starting to thin out a little bit, really kind of spreading out, which is good for these drivers, because then they can start racing each other, one-on-one, and not really have to worry about what's happening behind them or what's happening, am I going to go 4 or 5 wide? As here we go with the one-on-one battle with Luke Rennie and Matheus Wells, and once again, it goes to Luke Rennie, the 88, down the front stretch into turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I feel like the track that wears out more and the drivers can focus more on, one guy ahead of them instead of one guy ahead and the 4 guys behind them, right? Because you make one mistake, it's you're losing multiple spots at a time. But man, this 7, he's cruising right now.
He is. Unfortunately, Matheus Wells got a run and got back to the inside, but Baby Ruiz was up in second place there for about half that backstretch. And here comes another smaller car moving its way to the front. Colin Teague further up inside the top 10, just past Eli Brighton. Here he is cruising behind Jordan down to number 6. He just got by that 24 Zidell. 7th place for the 49 as they race off into turn 1. And Matheus Wells again for the lead on Luke Rennie.
Oh, these guys are... Oh, my goodness. Be careful here.
Ooh, that was very close. Evans and Ruiz almost making some contact. There's Jordan down to 6 on the bottom as well. This is such an amazing pack of cars racing down the back straightaway off into turns 3 and 4. Here comes Eli Bright going 3 wide in the number 8 car. Remember, his lone Winston Cup Series victory came at a 2-mile racetrack at Texas World last season. He's looking for another one here today at California, moving up for 3rd place. And once again, Matheus Wells and Luke Rennie go side by side for the lead.
It makes you wonder how much they're using their stuff up, though, doing stuff like this, right? Because, I mean, the slide jobs and the late moves into the corner entry, and Luke Rennie's going to dive it in here, and he's going to wash it back up the track in front of the 20. I mean, what's it doing to their tires, right?
Well, if anything, they're actually saving tires more than the guys behind, because these guys are going 3 and 4 wide and setting it off into the corner. Those two are kind of just, one-on-one battle. It's like, oh, you go, I'll go, and they just kind of keep trying to lead, whereas these guys are doing stuff like that. Man,
no one's giving anybody else any room.
Is this the theme of this season? We've seen it, at Daytona where they had some close calls with 4 wide and stuff. We saw at Riverside, no one giving room, and here today, Trey, they're just after each other.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they had a bad drivers meeting or something, but they're not being very friendly.
No, they're not. And once again, Matheus Wells and Luke Rennie trade the lead. Wells back out in front of that number 88. Here comes Fitzwater, 3 wide on Brett Sierra and Eli Bright. Eli backs out, saying, I don't want to get involved in that. Now it's going to be 3 wide on Sierra and Zidell.
We're good. We're good. What's I know we had a long green flag run. What's the pit strategy looking like? When do you think we'll expect these guys in?
I would say around lap 30. Maybe some drivers might try and undercut, come around 28, 29, but really, once you make it to lap 25, you complete the 25th lap, you can make it from then on field. So if anyone wants to try undercuts, you'd start around lap 25, 26, 27. But you expect most of the drivers to go to about lap 30 or so, make that pit stop, and that's about 20-lap run to the finish of this race.
So we still got like 10-ish laps to see if anything major unfolds here. But so far, I think we can chop it down to at least 2 drivers, maybe 3 if you count that 6 in there. He's been up front for majority of this thing as well.
I'd watch for that 29th, 4th place. Sebastian Kukulon won this race last season. He knows how to get it done here at the California Speedway, and he's crept his way up inside the top 5. Behind them, they're 3 wide. Another smaller car moving up as they're going to go 4 wide. Eli Bright, though, was going to back out. It was Evans that made the move. Eli backs up, and now he's going to shoot the middle between the 7 and the 25.
Was that a strategy call, or was that a save my car first and then get aggressive?
Wow.
We're good.
We're fine. How about this man, Evan Hunter, moving through the field? He did not qualify all that well, but now he's up inside the top 10. Maybe got a shove from Strickland there, but here he is, Trey, up towards the front of the field for the first time today, 20 laps in.
Where did our pole sitter go?
Yeah, Tim Gary, his teammate, has really fallen back, as Wells is still out front. Stout's now second, but yeah, Gary's really fallen back, as these guys are racing very aggressively. Tim Gary is nowhere to be seen inside the top 20. He's currently back in 21st place in that number 10 car.
Oh my goodness, he fell off majorly. I figured he was just kind of chilling in this group here, but then you mentioned his owner and teammate, and I'm like, I haven't seen the 10 in a while.
Well, there he is right right at the back of this pack. He might just be in the draft of it, trying to pull himself back up into it, because at the moment, you really want to be at the front of the field. Up for the lead. Here we go, 88-20 again.
Now the real question is, the 6 goes up top.
And that's shocking, because I thought he would have gone with the Ford.
That's what I was curious if it was going to help his fellow Ford teammate there, but no, he decided to take the run to the top side, and really, I mean, everyone just kind of stayed where they're at because no one had any runs that lasted long enough.
And look at DeLello being aggressive, going by Kukulon, looking on Fitzwater as well. Just a few spots behind these guys. How about Jack Carter in the 54 for Bell Carter Motorsports? Not so good in qualifying, not so good in practice, but here they are when, the race means everything. We've seen the 7 come up through the field. We saw the 49 come up through the field, and the 54 really kind of, he was quiet at the first part of the run, but now as the tires wear out, we're getting later into this field run, he's stepping up, and he's moved his way up inside the top 10.
This is why I love long runs, Joe, just because you get to see different names and drivers who are really good at saving their stuff here, unlike these guys who keep slide jobbing each other. But, that's all right, because that gives us entertainment.
Well, we might have a new second-place man. It's been the 88 and the 21st and second for so long. Now Jordan Stout's looking to get by Mathis Wells for a second. His teammate Keyshawn Richardson, who won here back in 2001, is coming to the bottom as well. But Stout looking to complete the pass on Mathis Wells as we come around to complete the 23rd lap. Let's get to our Gatorade audience analysis for this week. Last week we'd asked, what is the best recent memory from the Riverside International Raceway as the caution comes out?
Oh my goodness, that's major damage.
Heavy for Tyler Belladonna. Oh, and their teammate, Jude Martinelli.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That's never good to see teammates to each other. And the 40 has major damage.
Yeah,
This was a big wreck, Joe.
Benny Lynn, the lone Chip Ganassi racing car that made the race, is involved. And we saw the 81 of Sibadowskin off the pace as well, the 67 to pit road.
Wow.
We'll
The cars are destroyed.
hold off on the audience analysis until after pit stop. So it's before halfway. However, with the fuel window being 29 to 30 laps, there's 29 to 32 laps. They can make it from here because we only have, when we're going to pit, 26 laps to go.
Yeah, plus you're going to have to, think about the couple of laps under caution we're going to have as well. Yep. So I don't think anyone's worried about not making it to the end here.
They're just worried about filling it full of fuel and getting those 4 tires on as fast as possible.
Yeah, they're worried about having a non-controversial pit stop, which I would think is safe to happen during this one because they're all going to be doing the same thing, right? But
it's a
honestly,
wide pit
Joe,
road.
yeah, but honestly, with these guys, I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
No, you can never be never be shocked if something happens on pit road. We've seen a lot of stuff happen in the past. We'll have to see, drivers at the back in the pit road, but it looks like most of the field's on already, and drivers are just coming off now. So I think everyone should be fine as long as there's no, major issue. See how wide the pit road is. You can fit like 4 cars across, it seems like.
Yeah, it's always confusing when watch such a wide pit road, but if it makes them happy, we'll be good.
88 off first. They held their ground.
It looks like majority of the top 5, top 10 stayed the same. Oh, little jam up there, but no contact. At least I didn't see any contact there. Some 3 wide off pit road.
Yep.
Looks like it was pretty clean.
Everyone minding their P's and Q's off pit road. Luke Rennie leaves in first. But now back to the Gatorade audience analysis. We had asked, at Riverside, what's the best recent memory? And, it is fitting that Sierra versus Jericho from 2000 won that one with 57% of the vote because, you could apply Sierra versus Jericho to the 2003 race and say that was easily the best ever at Riverside.
I'm telling you, if that was one of the options, if we had a time traveler and they would have told us that was an option, I'm pretty sure majority of the people would have picked that recent one.
I think so. But, this week we're going to ask about maybe a new winner in the Winston Cup Series. Which of these drivers has the best shot to get their first win next in the Winston Cup Series? Is it Sarah Kirchner for Richard Childress Racing? How about Ryan Wilson moved over to DEI? Maybe it's Laura Chung for Evernham or Hunter Reed for Petty Enterprises.
Can I go off the books here? Can I say that's 16?
Well,
wait, that doesn't make any sense. Does it?
No.
I don't know.
I mean,
the 16 as in car-wise.
Yeah, I guess so.
As in car-wise. But with the
car winner, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought the question was, but I was wrong. I'm going to go with the 30. 33. Right. Joe, I'm off today.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll we'll go check out replay what happened. Maybe this get back to normal. We'll go see what happened. Bring out the caution of about 4 or 5 car crash. Collects a few victims here at the California Speedway. Well, here's basically what started the crash. They were 4 wide in turns 1 and 2. Jude Martinelli, Ryan Wilson, they rubbed together, but were able to actually control their cars and save it. Unfortunately, Martinelli's teammate Tyler Belladonna comes up, gets near the 81 of Oskin, maybe gets him loose, up into Jude Martinelli, and then the crash is on from there.
And then you're going to see the 67 hit off the 91, and it's going to hurt. Oh, my goodness.
Ryan Wilson,
and,
there's Benny Lynn. Look at Max Davis getting through. Matt Tuck is going to hit right there. And then if it's not bad enough already for Jasper, here comes the 77 into the 67 again.
Yeah, that was a solid, what was that, 5 or 6 cars involved there?
Yeah, that was quite a bit. We saw, we had seen the major damage ones, but we didn't know the 32, the 15 had some slight contact in that as well. But they got some slight damage. But really the major damage, 6-7 Martinelli hit the wall pretty hard. His teammate Tyler Belladonna has some damage. Oskin just did a simple spin, and everyone else pretty much drove away from the crash team. We'll go take a look at this wreck from a few more angles. And here's the view at full speed. It really, Trey, a good job by Wilson and Martinelli to save it at first, but unfortunately they couldn't save what came after.
Yeah, it kind of does look like the 77 pushed that 81 up into the teammate, but I mean, it could have been a checkup. It could have been, a couple of things there. So we're not gonna assume. We can't assume it's a bad day for the 77 to 67 though.
Yeah, we can assume that Jack Haas, the team owner, is not the happiest right now at Jasper Motorsports. As we're going to take a look from an onboard of Jude Martinelli, just how vicious his hit was into the outside concrete. Here's the onboard tray. Does this take it back to your driving days?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
this is gonna hurt though. Get ready for this. Oh my goodness! And then he gets T-boned in the driver door, and then at the very last insult to injury, he gets hit by his teammate.
Yeah, and unfortunate. Basically, end to their competitive days for Jasper Motorsports. Martinelli might even be done for the day in that number 67, but we'll come back here on JRTV. It's just starting to pick up here in the Auto Club 500 at the California Speedway. Lights are out atop the pace car. We're going green this time by. We're past the midway point of the Auto Club 500. We'll restart on lap number 28 of 50. So still lots of time left for these drivers to try and make their way through the field at the California Speedway. Jude Martinelli's taking his 67 to the garage, and he's done for the day here at the California Speedway, as it's Luke Rainey still in the lead. That 80 and the 20, they've been the dominant cars here today, but watch for Jordan's on the 6 as well. He's moved his way up to second. As mentioned, Wells in third. How about Fitzwater up in fourth place? Only one career win. It came in 2001 at Martinsville. And basically the complete opposite track to where we're at right here in California. We'll have to see if Fitzwater can try and move his way past those top 3 cars. And about Richardson, won here in 2001, up inside the top 5. Jack Carter still inside the top 10 for Bell Carter Motorsports. He's in 6th. DeLello's still up there. He's in 7th. They have Evan Hunter, the points leader. He's finished top 5 in both the races so far this season. He has a shot for that again in 8th place. Thompson's still up there in 9th, and Laura Chung has moved her way up inside the top 10. Watch for Kukulon, won here last season in 11th. Colin Teague still up there in 12th. Eli Bright in 13th. Ruiz still up there in the top 15, and so is Brett Sierra. There's Zidell and Evans. Watch for Burnett. How about Hunter Reed, Riley Spurgeon, and Justin Atkins? They're all back in it. Watch at the back of the field, too. There's some drivers that faded back here. Colin Lewis is back here. Let's see if he can try and move his way through the field. And the 97, the 12 are back here as well, so some of the bigger name teams have fallen their way to the back. We'll have to see if they can try and recover. As it's Robert Yates Racing and Luke Rainey out in front. Back to the green flag. It's back waving. He gets a good jump. Wells gets a good jump, but nowhere to go but to the outside lane of Jordan Stout.
Yeah, it's going to hurt him here because I think the 2 is going to get underneath him. And, well, we'll have to see how big of a drop is going to be, considering that everyone's all back up together. As you can already see, he's losing 2 spots as we speak.
Yeah, Keyshawn Richardson moving to his inside as well as they race their way down the back straightaway. Wells trying to get the draft off the 4 cars in front. Richardson has no drafting help to the inside. Here comes DeLello, his teammate, but I think that's looking for a pass 3 wide into turns 3 and 4.
Look at that not new car I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's a new car because the past 2 seasons, Roush has been a 4-car organization, but the 16 has been around in the past. Look at Laura Chung!
How does that make you feel?
I think that Dodge has some horsepower under the hood.
I was not expecting Chung to, maybe a little bit of anger, but was not expecting her to shoot the inside there.
Yeah,
or not the inside, but
middle.
the inside of the 99, but the middle of both the Roush guys.
She cleared everyone. She made that work.
You were speaking about that Dodge having some power?
Yeah, apparently it does. And so does Fitzwaters, because he's moved up to second place by Jordan Stout, but now Stout trying to pass him back. But back of the pack, back half of the top 10, these restarts are wild. Everyone trying to get every position they can. Fight hard 3 and sometimes 4 wide, racing off into turns 1 and turns 3.
Oh, I don't like that, Joe. Oh, contact.
Look at everyone banging off each other, but somehow they made it work. It was Matthew Burnett that forced to the inside the 17. Laura Chung has moved her way to second by Jordan Stout. Keegan Thompson coming with her in the number 5.
These guys are, they're really trying to bring out another wreck, aren't they?
I think they are. And Chung to second, trying to get the run on Luke Rainey. Thompson coming with her, looking to her inside, but the 9 gets the draft in the run and moves with the 88 down the front stretch. You can see the pack, how tight together it is, but as the run goes on, it should spread out for the lead. Laura Chung looking to lead for the first time today, down to the inside and trying to get by the 88 of Luke Rainey.
She's got him cleared. Maybe. I think the 88 might get a run here. I can't tell. It should be good.
Trying to fight back. I don't think she wanted to get the draft to the 88, though. She'll give it to the 5 instead. Thompson moves to the inside, and Laura Chung to the lead with 20 to go, but Thompson fighting back in the number 5, down to the inside. But Chung trying to get the run off the middle of the racetrack, trying to lead her first lap of the day for 5 bonus points towards the championship, and she'll do it in that number 9. Laura Chung to the lead with 19 laps to go.
That was a little strategy play, like you mentioned on the backstretch there. We'll have to see how well that 9 is out front, though, and if anyone else can come up and catch the 9. But these guys back here are still jockeying for position, and, it always makes me nervous when they do stuff like that.
Well, how about Anthony Hernandez? We had talked about the other 2 DI cars, Eli Bright we talked about Ryan Wilson, how they had been near the front of the field, but we had not talked about Anthony Hernandez being up at the front of the field. But now here he is late in the race, the only DI car at the front, inside the top 5, inside the top 10. As Thompson looks to lead in the number 5, he'll get by Laura Chung and lead this lap with 18 to go. Thompson out front getting those 5 bonus points for leading. His teammates are 3 wide behind into turn 1. And how about Riley Sprose, now up to 11th place, the highest he's been today, and now moves his way up inside the top 10 from last on the grid to now the top 10 with 18 laps to go here in California.
He might be one to watch here near the end of this thing. Seems like he's only gone one way, and that's forward, so we'll have to see if he has enough in that car left to get him up to that number 1 position.
Well, his teammate Luke Rainey has been very aggressive and good today. They're going to be 3 wide for the lead. Oh my goodness, Luke Rainey being aggressive in the 88. He's in the middle. Hernandez and Fitzwater are like, where can we go? As you can see, Thompson going to back out. I think he's wondering, I don't want to be involved in this fight yet. He's like, there's still 17 to go. There's still a lot that can happen. Look at Seidel!
Oh!
Wow.
That's aggressive.
Well, you know what? I think the 2 had hit the 24 earlier up the racetrack, remember? Was that some payback right there?
That might have been, but it almost cost the 24's teammate at the same time, because I think Keegan was on top of that.
Well, it almost cost Hernandez as well, because he got slammed by the 2 car. Luckily, everyone controlled it and saved it. Laura Chung now out to the lead. Justin Seidel is up to 2nd place. Fitzwater is now 3rd. And how about Evan Hunter trying to make it 3 for 3 inside the top 5? He's up on the inside, and now he's up inside the top 5.
He's, I'm telling you, Joe, you mentioned it. This team might be a championship favorite.
And I can't believe this, because he qualified badly, back around 27th place. He wasn't really racing all that well, but then, the run got longer early on, and he flipped a switch, moved up inside the top 15, inside the top 10. Now here he is for the first time today, up inside the top 5, losing those spots, though, to Keegan Thompson. And how about Roberto Crown Jr.? We had mentioned Evan Hunter, the only driver to finish inside the top 5 in both the first 2 races. Well, he and Roberto Crown Jr. are the only 2 drivers to finish inside the top 10 in the first 2 races. That's not, MB2 and Petty Enterprises, not the 2 teams you would have expected that out of at the start of the season.
No, not at all. But, it just shows you that they're slowly starting to get up into that area where other teams are going to have to start to worry about them, coming up and getting good finishes week in and week out. So we'll have to see how they end up faring today, as you can see them right near each other now. But, with the way these guys are racing, anything's possible.
But we got cars shuffling everywhere. Fitzwater just moves Seidel for 2nd place. Those 2 are still ongoing their battle. How about Matthew Burnett for the first time today? We're really talking about him. He's moving through the field. Mathis Wells has regained lost ground to 20, moving back up inside the top 10. And how about just behind them? We talked about Jay Rando, how much ground he had lost on that last run, how much ground he lost on pit road. He was back with Chris Jericho on the 18, but now he's methodically worked his way up inside the top 15, bringing Tim Gary, the pole sitter, back up towards the front with them.
Well, it's we mentioned it. We kind of disappeared, right? But
Yep.
now he's back. So
Yeah.
he's back when it matters. That's the only thing.
He's back with his teammate, Evan Hunter. Hunter had lost ground right there, but now trying to regain it back on the inside. Rando not giving room to his teammate, Keyshawn Richardson, not giving room for the lead. Laura Chung and Keegan Thompson are going at it in the 9 and the 5.
He's it seems like after we get about a handful of laps into a run, it kind of mellows out to like 3 to 4 drivers that stay up front here and kind of battle it out. But I mean, it's 3 totally different drivers than what it was the last time around.
Yeah, and how about Matthew Burnett? First time today we talked about him up inside the top 5, moving by Justin Zeidel for 4th place, bringing Riley Spurgeon with them, and top to bottom for Zachary Fitzwater Sr., looking out 3 wide. This number 2 has been one of the most aggressive drivers. He's driving like it's a video game.
Yeah, that is true. And the only problem is that you make other people mad when you drive like that. And if you make other people mad, it can tend to ruin your day as well.
Well, I know at the right at the start of the season, the day before the Gatorade Duels, a new NASCAR video game got released. For the computer, for the PC, called NASCAR Racing 2003 season by Papyrus. Continuing their line of video games and on the computer. But I've been told it's the best one to date.
Whoa!
I've been told it's so realistic, and I know some of these drivers have in fact gotten the game in their spare time at home. They race they race online, and who knows, if you're a fan and you have the game, you're racing online, maybe you can compete against like Eli Bright or anyone else that has the game. I know Eli's been on it, but a lot of these drivers have been on the game.
Have you tried it out?
I have not yet, but yeah, maybe we get like a segment with you where you're racing and you talk about how realistic it is, because I've been told it's basically to a T what it's like in real life.
I don't do video games, but I mean, if it's willing to show off what these guys go through, I'll be in.
Yeah, and so if you're listening, you want that video game, NASCAR Racing 2003 season, go to your nearest retailer. They probably have it in stock, and I'm sure it's well worth the buy, as you can race just like this around the California Speedway. And I've been told the bumps and everything on the tracks, they're all there. And I even know that Jasper Motorsports helped with the game and actually gave the crew that set up the game some setups to put into the game and say, like, here's some setups that we've used in real life. So put them in for each track.
Well, the nice thing is that if you reckon that thing won't cost you tens of thousands of dollars to repair the damages.
And it doesn't hurt, does it?
No, yeah, you get to skip, the infill care center visits and the bills that come with that. So it might be the best thing. I might have to put my driver onto that and just say, you know what, you do this instead.
I'm wondering if these front two have been playing that game, because Laura Chung and Luke Rainey, they have been the class of the field for the second half of this race. Laura Chung, we had talked about around 10th place in that before the pit stop, but that number 9 crew, they made some adjustments. And even if she doesn't win this race, one of the most impressive races of her career, and really probably, I mean, she gained so much after that pit stop. She was hanging around, 9th, 10th place, but now once she made that pit stop, after that restart, she moved her way to the lead, and once she got the lead, Trey, she's been up inside the top 3 or so ever since.
I say, hasn't really looked back now, has she? So we'll have to see if any of these guys. Here comes a newcomer, the 17. Really haven't mentioned him much this race, but to see if anyone has any answers for this number 9.
And how about Riley Spurley-Tube from the back of the grid, 41st place. Spurley-Tube is up inside the top 5, trying to move his way forward, trying to get to Laura Chung with just 8 laps to go. Hunter's just outside the top 5, trying to keep that streak going. He's moving back up through the field. Eli Bright is back up inside the top 10. Wells trying to get back up there. Hernandez going to the bottom of Justin Zeidel, trying to get that spot back for the number 24 car. So 2 DI cars up at the front to play for it. Jordan Stout fell back on that restart. He's moving back through the field to number 6. He's bringing Jacob Miller for CLR Racing with them. Ruiz is coming back, and so is the pole sitter Tim Gary coming back. They just have 7 laps to go, though.
Yes, they're 3 wide for a second. The 9's loving to see that. It's only going to slow them up more, and it's gonna gain her lead. But I don't know if a lead at this track is good. I mean, with the way it's been racing, though, it's what you want.
Yeah, if they keep battling for second place, that lead is the best thing to have, because if they keep battling side by side for a second, they're only slowing each other down, and they won't be able to run you down, as Thompson's through to second. Riley Spurley-Tube for the first time today is up inside the top 3. His teammate Luke Rennie's trying to come back with them. Robert Yates Racing showing their stuff here at the California Speedway. They're both up near the top 5 as we just have 6 laps to go. Some drivers are up towards the front, but fallen back in the second half of the race. Sierra's back outside the top 20. So is Conrad Evans. Keyshawn Richardson, Smash Kukulon, Zachary DeLello, Lathan Strickland have all fallen outside the top 10 as teammates are being aggressive with each other. Espiritu got shoved up by Luke Rainey, but at the front, challenge for the lead. Thompson gaining on Laura Chung down the back straight.
Now, who do you think wants this win more, the 9 or the 5?
Well, think about Laura Chung. She's never won. She was on that question, we had earlier in the Gatorade on its analysis. Who's the next first-time Winston Cup Series winner? Well, Chung's trying to get it, but Keegan Thompson, the near champion of 2000, has not won since Kansas in 2001. Both drivers very, very hungry to get it, and they have 5 laps to go to determine it. But Matt Tuck in the 32 is ahead of lap car.
Just say, Joe, did you see that out the window there?
I
mean, I know we have a good vantage point, but I don't know if we'll end up catching that 32. I don't know what the speed difference is, or if we have enough laps left. But that might play a factor into this thing.
Like to tell you the speed difference between the 5 and the 1. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to catch Keegan Thompson by the end of this lap. He is gaining and gaining and gaining right up to Keegan Thompson. This is the battle for the lead. Luke Rainey's in third place, hoping the front two start battling. He can close back in. It's a 3-car race for the lead with 4 laps to go, but if they battle, fourth on back and catch up. There goes Hernandez for the lead. Down into turns 1 and 2.
He's going to dive it on in here. Is he going to be able to clear this 5 by the time? I think he already has him cleared.
Yeah, he does, and here comes Luke Rainey to help that out. He's going to get some side draft, pull the 5 back. Hernandez is going to slide up very carefully in front of the 5. The 1 now leads in California. 1 out at Richmond last season for his only career win. Is this his second career one? How about Luke Rainey, the 88? He's won many races in his career. Looking for yet another one, the 88, up to second place. He's dominated this race, looking to get out front right at the end when it counts. Just 3 laps to go. 5 cars here, single file on the line. It's the 188, 5, 2, and 9 for the race win with 3 to go.
Yeah, Chung fell back 4 positions once Keegan got to her inside, so we'll have to see if she can bring those back up or not.
She's trying. She just got 1 out of Fitzwater right there, 4th place. The 5 and the 88 go for second side by side. Now that could help the 1 out, but if one of them gets clear and the other starts to push, that could be really bad for Anthony Hernandez. They stay side by side. Thompson really pushed up as they race off into turns 3 and 4. The 1, the 5, and the 9. They're going to short on fuel. They're short on fuel.
I did not have that in my bingo card.
I don't think anyone did, and now with 2 to go, Trey,
they're the only ones.
Who can make it, though? Does everyone have to pit, or are they the only ones?
Joe, I would have put money on them being able to make it with the caution laps, and like you said, normally if you get to lap 25, you're fine.
Yeah, they must not have filled their cars full of fuel. That's the only thing I think. They just didn't get it packed full. It was close, just not enough.
Oh no, Joe, this isn't good. I'm kind of nervous.
Can the 88 of Luke Rainey make? He's dominated the race. He's going high, or he's going low. I think he has to come down pit road. That's going to leave Fitzwater, Eli Bright, and Riley Spurley to first, second, and third. White flag this time by in California.
Did any of these guys make it now? I mean, they were in the back for majority of this, right? So you would think they were saving.
Last lap, Fitzwater has not won since Martinsville in 2001. Eli Bright has not won since Texas World last season. Tim Gary might hold him up. Now they have to negotiate. Matt Tuck in the 32. Fitzwater leads off 2 for the final time.
We might catch him in a good spot here on this back stretch is the place you want to do it at. Fitzwater's going to get to the inside, Joe, but the question is he good on fuel?
The beer cars run 1, 2. Fitzwater through 3 and 4, out in front of Eli Bright, the 8. He comes off 4 under power to the checker flag. He's back to victory lane. Penske is back with Fitzwater on top in California.
Wow.
I don't think anyone saw that coming.
I don't know. I didn't have that going as the way this race finished.
Well, one of the more aggressive drivers of the day, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. pulls through and wins the Auto Club 500 at California, and it was a beer car 1-2. Miller Lite outlasts Budweiser here today.
That was, I guess running up front was not the best thing then.
Yeah. Wow. I'm still speechless.
What a drive. Can we talk about this 57 though?
Yep, Jacob Miller snuck up there for top 5 at the end. Baby Rose was just behind him and got a top 10 out of the day. There were some smaller teams that, not only did some of them really run well here today, but then some of them had the fuel to make it and snookered a top 10, top 15, even a top 5 in the case of Jacob Miller. I mean, what a day that is.
Yeah, that was so much happened there in the last 2 laps. I'm still trying to process it all.
Well, maybe we could process it with the finishing results from the All Club 500. Maybe that will help us process what just happened here today at the California Speedway. Obviously, it was Zachary Fitzwater Sr. on top. He had the field to make it to the end. He gets the victory lane. Second place for Eli Bright. Those 2 cars, they had run well all day. However, they never really had the track position to be the front runners, the ones that we said could win this race. However, they had the fuel, they had the track position at the white flag. They took advantage of that. Tim Gary from pole fell back. Never talked about him from then, but he comes back up to get a top 3, third place for that number 10. How about Jacob Miller, CLR Racing, 4th place. At Riverside, they had a really good day. Here today at California, they have an extremely good day. That's a confidence builder for the rest of the season. And a top 5 for Riley Sprue after failing inspection after qualifying, going to 41st place, 5th place for Riley Sprue here today. Baby Rose hung around inside the top 15 all day. 6th place for the number 7. Sarah Kirchner was nowhere here today. She ends up in 7th place in that number 33. Jay Randall fell all the way to the back. He moves back up to 8th. Mathis Wells fell back on the restart, gets 9th. And Evan Hunter, 3 top 10 starts the season. 10th place for that number 36 here today. Justin Zadell, Nolan Lawrence get 11th and 12th. How about Hunter Reed with the top 15? Richardson had fallen back with Brett Sear there outside the top 20. So with DeLello and Evans and Atkins and Strickland and Kukulon, they all end up inside the top 20 here today because of the fuel issues that occurred late. Colin Teague, how about Henry Guo? Trey, your team, 22nd place. That just shows the sheer amount of cars that had to pit there at the end. Some more down here like Orman and his team owner and teammate Nathan Baird. Sabed Oskin down here. Jack Carter unfortunately faded late. And Ryan Wilson was the damage, moved up inside the top 30. 77, 18, 40. They all were able to make it, so they gained some spots there at the end, but the cars had to pit. The 1 of Anthony Hernandez, the 9 of Laura Chung, 17 Matthew Burnett, 88 Luke Rainey, 5 Keegan Thompson, 43 Roberto Crown Jr., and 6 Jordan Stout all had to come down the pit lane at the end and all forfeited what was basically top 10, top 15 spots. It was all the front runners, basically, as you mentioned, Trey, that had to come down the pit road, and that's what changed the outcome of the race, and it changes how the points kind of look. You'd think, Luke Rennie was having a good points day going. All those guys were having really good points days. Now, Trey, they have bad finishes. They drop down in points, and drivers like Fitzwater and Eli Bright, they get really good points days out of it.
Yeah, that's didn't think it'd come down to a fuel race, but I mean, I guess it technically did. So that's always the fun thing that comes out of these things, is that you never truly know who's going to end up winning this race.
No, you do not. And we had mentioned, we think they're going to be good on fuel, but it's just, on pit road, if you spend less time, you probably don't get the car full, and they came within a lap or two, just didn't have enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's always the pros of taking less fuel. That is, your car's lighter, therefore you tend to run faster, right? But the con is that you run out of fuel. Yep. And we saw that with quite a few drivers today.
We've seen this numerous times over the seasons where, we think something's good on fuel, but then it just turns out to be something completely different. I think back to 2000 when it looked like one car was going to win here, and a bunch of cars had to come down pit road, and it was Lathan Strickland who came out of nowhere and won that one. So kind of very similar here with Zachary Fitzwater Sr. and Trey. How about that? The Aussie, who had a dismal second season of the Winston Cup Series after winning early in his career at Martinsville, we thought, man, this guy could really do some crazy things. Last season it went complete opposite. His teammate won a race at a road course of all places. He won 0 races, didn't even finish inside the top 20 in points. But here today, Trey, he's one on top in California, a true oval of the Winston Cup Series.
Yeah, it seems like the road course guy has. I don't think he's won on the road course yet, has he?
Nope, just Martinsville in California now.
Maybe it'll slowly start to, change his mind into thinking ovals are a little bit better.
Yeah, he's always talking about how much he hates the California Speedway. So maybe this will help him.
What
change
track
that
doesn't
thought.
he hate though? Let's be honest.
That's true. Yeah, I've never seen him happy going into a racetrack, but maybe he'll be happy for the next race. It's more of a driver's racetrack. We've seen a lot of green flag running there in the past. As we're going racing at the Rockingham Speedway for the Subway 400 trade, that is always a must-watch race with how the tires were over a long run, how much green flag running you get there. It could be a very interesting strategy race there as well, with when these drivers want to come down pit road for fuel and tires.
Yeah, it's I'm excited to see the different strategies. Like you said, hopefully we can have a nice long green flag race going there, and we'll see what crew chiefs can. I mean, really, at that point, it becomes a battle of the crew chiefs, right?
Yes, it does, and we'll have to see how it all plays out next race at the Rockingham Speedway. Congratulations to Zachary Fittor Sr. and the number 2 Penske Racing Team on winning here at the California Speedway. For Trey Bartle, I'm Joe Rokeski. So long here on JRTV, but tune in next week for the Rockingham Speedway, the Subway 400.